Let's be real for a minute. Everywhere you look lately, especially in the last week or so, it feels like the world's tearing itself apart. You can't scroll on any social media, news outlet, or anything for 5 seconds without seeing rage, hate, someone trying to destroy someone else verbally or physically. The headlines are soaked with violence, and the streets just feel heavier. They feel lonelier, they feel more violent. Maybe you felt it too. It's like a weight on your chest, on your shoulders, like the world's closing in. Well, welcome back to the Warrior Servant Leader podcast. And today we're going to jump into this question. What do warrior servant leaders do when the world goes dark? Because that's when it matters most. Warriors don't just fight battles. Servant leaders heal people. We protect people. We lead people. And quite frankly, it seems like the world has forgotten how to lead without violence, but to lead with mercy, to lead with courage, to lead with kindness, to lead with love and not hate. And I'm not talking soft, hug a thug, sentimental love, can't we all just get along, those bumper stickers. I'm not talking that. I'm talking genuine mercy, courage, kindness, and love that makes a difference and makes an impact in your immediate world and in the bigger picture world. And these attributes are not weaknesses. They're weapons. They're weapons that we can use to impact, influence, and change the course of history. And they're weapons that need to be in our heart, mind, and soul, that it consumes us, that we will focus on mercy, courage, kindness, and love, and not anger, not hate, not violence, not an eye for an eye, and not on destroying what you perceive as your enemy. And I'm talking in the physical world. When we get into the spiritual world of good versus evil, absolutely, we want to crush that spiritual evilness that pervades the world, but not do it by destroying the people who have swallowed that poison pill. A lot of times mercy gets misunderstood. People confuse mercy and forgiveness with, we got to let somebody off the hook, or I'm just being a patsy and a pushover and a, the old 60s, love everybody and, be free to do what you want. That's not mercy. That kind of mercy is a weakness. The mercy I'm talking about is strength, and it's strength under control. I mean, I saw it in my career where mercy, where you can make a judgment call and you can control the course of what is going to happen and how the story's going to turn out. And I got to admit, a lot of times, to be honest, I wanted to go to the head splitting, ask, tell, make mindset and bring the fight on. And sometimes you're forced to do that. When you're facing somebody that is armed, is trying to kill you, trying to kill somebody else, you do take care of business, and you have to meet that violence with overwhelming response. But that's not the vast majority of calls that cops go on, and that's not the vast majority of encounters that civilians have with one another. It's not life or death. And mercy under control is a strength. And I know I've shared the story with you with mini Mike Tyson, the guy that we needed to get to the hospital. And he looked like Mike Tyson. And after almost an hour, 45 minutes or an hour of a sergeant and two officers trying to negotiate with him to get him to go quietly and peacefully failed, they call me. And not to be the peacemaker, but I was the smallest guy on duty, and it was a small bedroom, and they just wanted me to dive on top of this guy and basically be an anchor or a weight on him, and then they'd come in swinging and try and get him handcuffed and get him in a medic and take him to the hospital. But mercy under control in that situation for me was, hey, let me at least try and talk to him and connect with him and show some compassion, show some empathy. And it worked. And I walked him out without any handcuffs. So I know it works. And I know as a cop, 26 years, Dayton, Ohio is violent. We were number 7 most violent city in the country with a population of 150,000 people per capita. Compton, California was number 9. So, I get that there's times where we are going to be law enforcers, where we're going to have to take care of business. But I'm not talking that. I'm talking about refusing to become what we're fighting. And we're fighting violence. We're fighting criminals. We're fighting chaos. And I think St. Ambrose said it, nobody healed by somebody by using violence and hurting them. So the kind of mercy I'm talking about is that heartfelt compassion and empathy to change the outcome of what could be a bad one. There's a scripture quote, Matthew 5, verses 7. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy themselves. And I call that the law of reciprocity, because mercy breaks the cycle of retaliation. It builds trust, it builds relationships. And I'm telling you, right now, what you're seeing because of the Charlie Kirk assassination, we had a school shooting that here in Colorado, the shooter killed himself, 16-year-old, and another 18-year-old student was killed. And the rhetoric and so much of what's on social media is couched in terms of retaliation. And a lot of it's politicians, they take it for a chance to start talking political stuff, when in reality what we need to be showing is mercy, kindness, and courage and love for the victims, for the community, for one another. And the ultimate example of that was Christ on the cross. I mean, he's been beaten. He has a crown of thorns jammed down into his skull. He had to carry a cross under those conditions of being whipped to within an inch of his life. He was betrayed by Judas. All the apostles ran. And it was, a horrific scene if you picture it. And yet he's on the cross and he still says, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And that reminds me of Luke in his gospel says, Luke 6:36, be merciful even as your Father is merciful. And Christ forgave them from the cross before he died. And that's mercy. That's the kind of strength the world desperately needs now. And then there's courage. We glamorize it. We make it into Hollywood movies. But I'm telling you, courage doesn't feel like fireworks. There is times that you are absolutely scared shitless, or you have that fear factor of you want to forget everything and run. And I don't mean just in policing, but in relationships and struggles at home and struggles in your faith. And you just want to forget everything and run. And that's when you have to dig deep and search out that courage to rip through what you're facing. Sometimes courage is standing up when everybody else is sitting down, doing that Kermit the Frog, sipping the Lipton tea, going, none of my business. Sometimes it's speaking truth or telling the truth or doing the right thing when silence would be safer. I know I shared the story with you one night. First time I took the lieutenant's test, scored number 3, and it turned out they gave me too many points. And I called on the following Monday and to let civil service know that they screwed up and scored me too high. And it turns out they scored everybody too high. But I'm the only one that stood up and didn't stay silent about it. And sometimes courage is looking someone in the eye and simply saying, I forgive you. Or maybe it's not even actually facing them because that would be too traumatic, too maybe even dangerous. Domestic violence, if you've been a victim of that. But to genuinely, in your heart, have the courage to say, I forgive that person, even though they've shattered your trust. And if you say it in person, it's much stronger. But either way, having that courage to forgive someone may be one of the most difficult things you have to do. And that kind of courage in those kind of situations is much harder than in law enforcement. Everybody praises the police for running towards gunfire, or 9/11 running into burning, collapsing buildings. Yeah, that's courageous, but for so many of us, that's who we are. Ask a cop or tell a cop, hey, you did a great job and really appreciate you. And they're going to go, I was just doing my job. Because we're trained to do that. We have the mental and the physical responses, auto-reflexive almost, that that's what we do. But those interpersonal relationship courage moments are 10 times, maybe 100 times harder than running towards gunfire. And here's the thing. Mercy takes courage. Kindness takes courage. Love takes courage, because it is so much simpler to take that lazy river ride and just float along. And if it doesn't affect you, it's none of your business mindset. It takes courage to step out of that boat and start swimming upstream. And it's sad, but, the world seems to reward anger and hate and rage and disruption and chaos, and stay silent when people are doing the right things at the right time, the right way, and for the right reasons. Or even worse than staying silent, condemn people for acting on their faith and doing the right things at the right time, the right way, and for the right reasons. But you got to be willing to pay that price. One of my favorite quotes comes out of Deuteronomy 31:6. Be strong and courageous. Do not fear or be in dread of them, for it is the Lord your God who goes with you. God's presence is the reason courage is possible in our lives. So rely on that, cling to that, and live it. Then you get to kindness. And boy, that when you say, oh, be kind, that's like for some people, fingernails on a chalkboard, that you're asking me to be weak. You're asking me to be soft. You're asking me to hug a thug. You're asking me to give a pass to a mass murderer. And no, I'm not. Kindness is tactical. Kindness involves strategy, and it is most definitely revolutionary in today's world. You've heard the expression, kill them with kindness. I don't like that expression because it has a violent connotation to kill the person by being kind to them. It's not the person that you are killing with kindness, sharing strategically in a very methodical way kindness. Your kindness is directed at overcoming the evil that that person is experiencing, overcoming their attitude. You're not attacking them. You're trying to, through kindness, change how they think, because then they will change how they behave. Yeah, I've seen cops do it. Disarm somebody who is just absolutely ripping them up one side and down the other verbally, and disarming them with kindness, disarming them with compassion and empathy. I mean, we took a class years ago called verbal judo, and it was like we were taught when somebody is just ripping you a new one, you just look at them in a very calm voice, go, hey, I appreciate that, but here's why we're here today. And then you go into, why were you doing 80 and a 35? But you tried to disarm them with kindness. And another way of calling it would be genuine respect. That you're not mad at them, you're not angry with them, you're not taking this personally, that you're trying to be emotionally neutral and be kind and respectful to them and treat them like a human being. Because their experience may be that's not how police or other authority figures have treated them. That's not how their parents treated them. It's not how their teachers treated them. It's not how their siblings treated them. And they are grasping for some respect and control of their own lives. Quite frankly, I would call kindness almost body armor against bullets that can't be touched. That somebody's mouth and their venom and their behavior is an attack on you, then if you have the ability, and again, I got to come back to, I'm not talking when you're facing a guy with a knife or a gun and it is life and death. I'm talking about the 99% of the other encounters you have on a daily basis in your personal and professional life. Be kind when it makes no sense. That's disarming. Be kind when it makes no sense. It's not a weakness. It is spiritual warfare. It's choosing intentionally to be calm during chaos, to be the light in a dark moment in somebody else's life, to be that steady hand when the world is spinning out of control in that person's life, or even in your own life. And it's what warrior servants and leaders do. Paul, I think, said it best in a letter to the Colossians, chapter 3, verse 12. Put on then as God's chosen ones, compassionate hearts, kindness, humility, meekness, and patience. That's what we're called to do. Put on compassionate hearts, kindness, humility, meekness, and patience. Kindness kind of becomes your spiritual uniform. Not just the gun and badge that you're wearing that everybody can see. So, bottom line, what's this look like? If you go to Micah chapter 6, verse 8, do justice, love mercy, walk humbly with your God. That's what mercy looks like. Doing justice, loving mercy, not just tolerating it, not just fake showing it, but actually love mercy and walk humbly with your God. Second, courage, doing what's right when it hurts. If you want to look at a verse, Joshua 1:9, be strong and courageous, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. You are not alone in living a life of mercy, courage, and kindness and love. God is with you wherever you go. And that's a command, not a suggestion. If you have that mindset, be strong and courageous, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go, that almost becomes your battle cry. And it gives you the confidence of no matter what you're facing or whatever circumstances you've been put into, that you're not alone, and you can be strong and courageous. Finally, kindness. It's a quiet form of revolution. And it is. Kindness in today's world is people will look at you like you got a mental health problem, because society is so ingrained in and expecting and accepting violence and anger and hatred to be a first and maybe only response to adversity and chaos. And to walk in with a kind heart and patience and gentleness is absolutely contrary to what everybody is expecting and willing to accept. And here's a great verse to keep you focused on that. It's out of Paul's letter to the Romans, chapter 12, verse 21. Do not become overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. And it takes me back to that St. Ambrose saying, you never healed anybody by committing violence on them. Overcome evil with good. So to close, here's what's needed in our local communities, on a national basis, and on a worldly basis, is mercy, courage, kindness, and love. They're not soft virtues. They're battle gear for your heart, mind, and soul that will help you not just survive, but overcome evil, and will make a difference in your life and in the community that you live in, the agency that you serve, the workplace that you're in the corporate world, in your family, in your church. Because mercy heals wounds, courage stands up and fills the gap of attacks, and kindness lights darkness. It's really that simple. You don't need a badge. You don't need a title. You don't need a social media platform or anything else. You don't need notoriety. You don't have to be famous to live this type of life. You just got to have the guts to lead with your heart, mind, and soul, even when the world is running on hate. So here's your challenge this week. I'm going to ask you to ask 3 questions every night. 3 simple questions every night this week. Who did you show mercy to today? Where did you choose courage today? And how did you give kindness away today? 3 questions. Who did you show mercy to today? Where did you choose courage today? How did you give kindness away today? You do that every day, and you think that it becomes your habit. You will change yourself. You'll change your community. You will change the culture of your agency, and you will do it one person at a time. It's not like you're saving the whole world. You just have to show one person mercy. You just have to choose one opportunity to be courageous instead of forget everything and run. And you just have to be kind to one person, and that will multiply, and it will change your world and eventually the whole world. So, hey, love you all. I hope you've been inspired by this. Keep in touch. Follow me on LinkedIn, Pat Welsh JD, my Substack page. I do a lot more writing there than I do on LinkedIn. So at Pat Welsh JD on Substack. It's free. You don't have to pay to have access to Substack or read my material. And as always, strive to do the right thing at the right time, the right way, and for the right reasons, because that's what a warrior servant leader does every day, every time. Love y'all. See you next Tuesday.